Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reading English, a place where one can improve English through the interesting tales. Today, I have a lovely story for you, a story about change, hard work, and never giving up. It is a very simple story, easy to understand, and it can actually help you learn some new words and improve your listening skills. So, take your seats, listen carefully, and enjoy the story titled Sweat Now, Shine Later. Let us begin. Strength and Change. Incredible life stories are a little bit like magic dust that should be sprinkled around, leaving some thoughts and ideas drifting in the minds of people. I am Alex, and I am 18. I want to tell you how I have changed my life for the better, how I turned from being weak and tired of the crack to being full with energy and strength. I have learned that one should not run away from pain, but rather embrace it. This story is for anyone who feels stuck, lost, or afraid to try. I want you to know that change is possible. It just takes a little while. It takes hard work. But if you keep going, you will shine. Before I ever set off on the road to transformation, I was in many ways very, very different. I simply did not care. Really, I just could not care less about my health or my body. Most days, the hours could be counted off while sitting on the couch playing video games, snacking away, and gulping sodas. Is it going to take some years to recall my slow breathing? With my cowardly heart, I avoided sports and exercises just because they seemed hard to me. I was afraid to sweat. I told myself that those people must have all gone crazy too, because they actually run or lift weights. Why on earth would anyone put oneself through so much hard work? Life is short, so enjoy it. So I did with my food, my rest, and my games. But all of it filled up with a feeling of unhappiness, I suppose. I was tired all the time. I was so very low on energy to even study or meet with my friends. I felt weak and little. When I looked in the mirror, the view was not pleasant. My arms were soft. My face looked tired. My eyes were dull. I did not hate myself. There was just no love for myself either. I wondered, who am I? Who do I want to be? But I had no answer. That very afternoon was the first day of change. While on his way home from school, he saw a big of many people running in the park. In their midst was one older man, looking like a sheet of white paper with an explosion of white hair. The man was not young anymore, but he was fast. He passed by me with a smile that broke something inside me. There was power in him, a life that I now lacked in me. I thought, if he can, why can't I? That very night, I decided, I will try. I will change. The very following morning, I had the shoes on and walked outside. No warm-up was on, no music was playing. Just me and the street. I began running. But I did not run farther. I felt sick to my stomach and went down after 2 minutes. The chest pains, my legs burning, my hands aching. I sat there on the pavement, angry, tired. People passed me by. A dog barked at me. I thought about that very moment when I would declare never running again. Yet I smiled. That smile was a promise for myself. That smile said, this pain will become a new beginning. That pain returned the next day and the day after for weeks on end. My muscles were screaming. My feet were hating me. My stomach was hurting. But I ran. I ran a little more every day in the heat and rain. I ran when my legs wanted to scream, no! Then one day, I did not fall. I ran for 5 minutes, then 10, then 20. Still slow and tired, but changing. I could feel it. Change is painful. Change is slow. Change is not easy. There is no magic behind change. Pain, the real change, is accompanied by pain. Pain in the body and the mind screaming, "Stop!" But if you shout, "No," you grow. That is what I learned. That is what I want you to hear. No pain, no gain. It is not just a cliché. It is real. I know this because I lived through it. I remember my first set of 10 real push-ups. Not the kind where you face plant onto the floor. My arms were burning. My chest felt heavy. My breath was loud. By the time I finished my 10th one, I was already laughing. I was lying on the floor with my face flushed all over, and my arms were shaking as I laughed. Not because it was easy, but because I did it. Me, the boy who could hardly walk one flight of stairs without stopping to catch his breath, did 10 push-ups. Then I began lifting objects. Not heavy weights, just light stuff. 2 bottles of water, a backpack filled with books, bags of rice. My body just wasn't ready. My hand was weak. My arms said no. But I didn't give up. I turned that tiny apartment into a gym with a chair, some bags, and a piece of rope. Just that. I worked out every day. Every day it hurt. But that hurt made me feel potent. That's when stair day came. My apartment goes up 6 floors. I always took the elevator before. But that day, I looked at the stairs and said, "Let's go." I started slow. 1 floor, 2 floors. Legs felt like stones. Shirt was soaking wet, but I was not stopping. Finally, I made it all the way up. My heart was pounding. I sat down and smiled. It was hard, but it was mine. I had gone ahead to change my eating habits. No more of chips. No more soda. I started out having breakfast with eggs and fruit, and lunch with a chicken and a rice meal. Water became my favorite drink. It was not an easy acceptance by the body at first. To my denial, I often thought of sweets and fast foods. The answer was no. Life was not easy now, I was learning. Each good bite was another victory in this war. I did not enjoy the fight, but it was worth it. People began to notice some changes. "You look different," they said. "Are you working out?" I smiled and nodded. Well, they did not know the better truth. They had not heard about the aches, the small victories, the nights I cried from muscle cramps, the mornings I didn't want to move. All they saw were the changes, but I knew the real story. I lived it. That morning, I just woke up and did not feel tired. That was strange. I had gotten used to waking up sore and slow. But this time around, I felt light in my body. There was no pain in my legs. My back was quiet. I smiled standing up. I faced the reflection in the mirror, the face. My arms looked sharper and stronger. The eyes glimmered. This was not the old me, anywhere near all those who have worked hard, fought hard against pain, and kept moving. I went for a run that day. It was cold outside. The sky was dull and gray. I ran through the park, passing the one walking his dog and the other one sitting on the benches. I never stopped. I was fast. I was free. I felt my feet dance. But when night fell, the pain was back, a sharp pain in my leg. I sat down and held on to it. The old fear returned. "Stop now. It's too much." For a moment, I listened. I looked at my shoes. I looked at my towel. For a little moment, I almost gave up. But then I remembered the stairs, the food, the rain, and the fight. I said no. I took deep breaths, stretched, and rested already resolved to never quit. I never really wanted to quit ever again. Weeks later, I signed myself up for a local 5-kilometer race. Nothing too big, but it had scared me entirely. That was my first test. The day began to fall. Together with the rest, I stood at the starting line. Some wore special shoes. Others looked really strong. I looked down at my old pair of shoes. I felt small. But I closed my eyes and told myself, "You belong here." The runner set off at the whistle. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I ran like I was supposed to perform. I did not win in the slightest. I finished, raised my hands, legs shaking, heart flying with pride. I sat down, smiling. Tears filled my eyes. I wasn't really crying for the race. I was crying because of how far I had come. From lazy days and junk food to early mornings and cold runs. From weak to strong. That day, I felt like a winner. The race gave me yearning for more, so I picked up the jump rope once again, threw in longer runs, and then heavier weights. My legs were totally tired. My arms were burning again. And somehow, I smiled through it. The horrifying part is not the pain. It is another change in me. It is proof that I do harder things now. And I like that. A young man had approached me at the gym one day. He looked nervous, and I felt his arms were thin. The question went, "How did you start?" I gave him a half smile. I saw myself in him. I just started. I was weak too, but I did not stop. He took in what I said. I told him, "Feel the pain and keep going." Then he just smiled and nodded. I felt that pride differently now that day. Alone in my room that night, I kept thinking about my journey back and forth from lazy days to race days, rubbish food to healthy meals, from fear to strength. I was calm. I was not sad. I was not loud. I was calm. My heart did not skip a beat. My mind was clear. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Real peace, which comes only after pain. Then should have been discipline. With everything time, food, exercise, I came up with a plan. Rise early, train, eat, work, sleep, repeat, every day. The same. It had no ounce of fun in it. On some days, it became a giant urge to just keep on staying in bed. Some nights craved sugar and indulgent sweet ice cream. But I said, no. I would remind myself of the pain. The memory of the first run, the first fall, and the first win provided enough push for me to keep going. I did not want to revert. How do you stay strong? They would ask. At work, at the gym, online. I have always given the same answer. Pain. I said, feel the pain. Don't run away from it. Some were confused. Some smiled in understanding. Some did not believe me. But it was the truth. No secret. No magic trick. I just kept going when it hurt. That was what made the difference. There was once an old picture of me, cross-legged at some couch, chewing on some snacks. My face was tired. There was no life in my eyes. I felt sorry for him, not because he was overweight or too slow, but because he had lost so much belief. He did not know how strong he could have been, really. I wish I had been able to reach inside that picture and say, stand up. Just try. One weekend, I went hiking with friends. We climbed a long, long hill. The heat was unbearable. The sun was relentless. The road was steep, but I never felt tired. I walked with power and laughed along with my friends. I was full of energy, taking in the scenery, trees, sky, rocks. Atop the hill, I looked down on the land below, breathed deeply, and felt proud. That weaker boy who used to hate the stairs now loved the climb. That night, I sat thinking about this weird thing. Pain had changed. It was hardly in my body anymore. It was lodging in my heart now. The bad, the really good, and the really strong. I was not afraid of the pain anymore. It was a teacher for me. It taught me who I really am. It showed me my limits and taught me to break them. That is what I always say. No pain, no gain. For me, it is more than a saying. It has become present-day life. I live a different life completely. I wake up with purpose and move with energy. I speak with confidence. I am not perfect. I get tired. I feel pain. But I now have a way of dealing with it. I listen to my body. I take care of it. I rest when I should. But I never stop believing in this truth. Growth comes with pain, and I welcome it every single time. Sometimes, as I walk past those old places, and here I'm thinking of places like fast food joints, the park where I once sat on a bench with a friend, or that bus stop where I used to just stand and wait instead of walking. I stop and smile. I don't smile because I miss the life. It's because I had left it. I had changed bit by bit through the sweat, pain, and little glories. Those places speak of my story, or used to. They no longer represent me. The pity is, how come you keep at it? You are already fit, friends ask. So I say, it's not just about the muscles. It's about the mind, the spirit, the fight. I don't train to be good-looking. I train to be strong on the inside. Sometimes life is hard. Pain occurs in various forms. But training compromises training of the heart as well. You learn to carry on. So I took a fall again, this time while running. I hurt my leg. It swelled up. I could not run for a full week. And by that time, I was in disarray. Well, in anger and frustration. But I did not break down. I took that break for some stretching. I read and rested. I said to myself, this is part of the journey. Pain doesn't stop me now. It teaches me. It shapes me. That fall didn't make me weak. That fall made me ready to keep going. So here I am telling you my story. Not that I am strong or special, but because I started with nothing. No plan, no coach, no tools, only pain and the will to move through it. That was enough. If you feel weak, tired, or stuck, remember this: no pain, no gain. It is not only about bodies. It is about becoming who you are meant to be. Sweat today. Shine tomorrow. Thanks for coming along and listening to Alex's story. I hope it helps you push forward when things become difficult for you. Remember, learning English or changing your life requires a lot of patience and effort. Please give this story a thumbs up and subscribe to Reading English for stories every day to help you learn English. Drop a comment below on what you learned or what you want to listen to next. Catch you in the next video. Keep practicing, keep growing, and give up never. Goodbye.